Yo, what is happening? This is shit, Yeshuba. This is the Mo Talk with Will Sports and Mo. I want to get into this Luka Doncic trade to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. And I'm coming straight from a fan's point of view. Okay. Anybody has been following me, even just a little bit, you know that I am a 214 dude. I'm born and raised in Dallas. So I am a fan of these teams. Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Mavericks by nature. Raised in this thing. I go far back as a reunion arena, which a lot of people are probably too young to even remember what the reunion arena is. Been around this thing a long time. I watched Dirk come into this league, and I watched Dirk grow and mature. And I was there when we lost the finals to Miami the first time to come back and win the thing. And seeing the emotions that Dirk had after it was won and the process that went through it, through the coaches and through the different players and the emotions of the ups and downs in the city. And I wondered to myself, how in the world did Dallas luck up again to get somebody else, that was a pure shooter as Dirk again on the team in Luka. And when I got the news, I honestly thought that it was not real. I thought it was satire. And I saw it and I immediately Googled to find out that it was real. My initial thought was the whole city of Dallas is smoking crack, for real, when it comes to sports. We know what Jerry Jones is doing to the Dallas Cowboys. We are watching him be a microwave to the Dallas Cowboys, which is destroying this team inside out. And with Jerry, we understand now that it's just a business as long as people continue to buy tickets, as long as that stadium continue to sell out, as long as the brand of the Dallas Cowboys is the number one brand in all of the sports. Jerry could care less about winning, and he could care less about winning the Super Bowl. And this is why he is doing the things that he is doing. I never say that I'm not going to be a Dallas Cowboy fan anymore, because that is a lie. I'm always going to be a Dallas Cowboy fan, but what I'm not going to do is keep supporting the foolishness that's coming out of there. It's a bad product. So therefore, what do you do with bad products? You reject it. That's what I'm going to do. I never thought that I'd see the day where I would talk like this when it comes with the Dallas Mavericks, and that's where I'm at now. I'm going to have to reject this, okay? And, you can say all that you want to say that Luka was a liability on defense. Yes, he was. Luka was not the best defensive player in the world. In fact, on that end of the court, he probably didn't give you, 25%. You know what I'm saying? Which it could be a liability, but I don't want to hear about that. And I'm explaining to you why it don't matter in this instance. I don't want to hear about all the games that Luka missed as well. That he hasn't played a complete season and he's been out since Christmas on this time around as well. I don't want to hear about that either. And I just explained to you as the reason why, starting with that. This is a league right now of players who will sit out of a game because they got a hangnail. Okay, this is a league of players all the way around that do not take their playtime as serious as they did back in the 80s and 90s. There were games that I know of because I've heard players talk about where players like Jordan wanted to sit out. And we talking like preseason games. They wanted to sit out because they was just tired, but then they went on and played. Why? Because they understood that people was coming to these stadiums to see them play. Okay. And they played. Jordan played with the flu one time and he dropped 50 points, man. If there was any time where a player needed to sit out or not play, it could have been then and it would have been understandable, but he didn't. He played. Why? Because he did have a love for the game, true, but he understood that he was Michael Jordan and he understood that people came to see Michael Jordan, and therefore that was his job to give them what it was that he wanted. But we are in an age now where players will sit out and they're making way more money, way. I remember when Michael Jordan's $1 million a year contract was a big story. That was a headline, man. Why? Because no player had ever made that type of money. But look at the money that these players are being handed out now. And a lot of that has to do with the trailblazers like Michael Jordan and how they paved the way in order for them to make the money that they make today. But with that level of success that they have today, they don't appreciate it to the point where they give it back to the fans in the way that they did back in the 80s and 90s. So him missing games, that's a norm across the league right now. Anthony Davis misses games as well. Misses a lot of games. I believe in the 12 years that Anthony Davis has been in the league, he has not played one complete 82 game season, not one. Kyrie, I love Kyrie to death, but Kyrie misses games all the time. So don't tell me that this made sense because Luka missed a lot of games. Don't tell me that. I'm not listening and understand that I'm getting this off of my chest. I'm coming to you from a fan's point of view, okay? I'm talking with emotions right now. I need you to understand that these are emotions that you are hearing from me. I don't watch a whole lot of NBA basketball because the game is not what it used to be in the past, but I keep up with my Dallas Mavericks. I always check the standings and to see where they're at year after year. I always have. And Luka has put a new interest in the Mavericks for me, especially them coming off of a finals of last season. So I want to see where they are, right? And when the playoffs come, I pay a little bit more attention than I do during the regular season. So I don't know when he's playing, when he's not playing, because I don't watch the games like that, but I am still invested in it. Why? Because that's my city. Why? Because I want to see them do good, even though I'm not watching every game, even though I'm not there to see what it is that they're doing week in and week out. I'm still invested in it, and I am invested in what it is that Luka is doing. And I watch the trades. I watch the pieces that they put around Luka in order for them to continue to have a high level of success. And I know that they was dropping in the standings, but, you know, it happens during a long season, right? It happens during a long season. And now is the time of trading. So you thinking to yourself, okay, well, now it's time for them to start building pieces around Luka. We was just one shooter away from being able to win the championship. Granted, Boston was a much, 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 much better team than the Dallas Mavericks. Okay, that was a complete team. Boston is a championship built team. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But if we had just had one more shooter, one more legit shooter to take some of the pressure off of Luka and some of the pressure off of Kyrie, and we just had one more shooter to be able to take a little bit of the pressure off of either one of them, it probably could have been a whole complete different finals than what it was. So don't come to me and say, look, Luka missed a ton of games. So therefore, it makes sense. Don't come and talk about defense win championships, and therefore Luka's defense presence was none and void. I don't care about that. Now understand why I don't care about that. Since the days of Dr. J, Magic Johnson, and Larry Bird coming into the NBA began to be a star-driven league. This is what sells the NBA. The stars that are in the NBA. The NBA stars are rock stars. Michael Jordan haven't touched a basketball in years. I don't know how many years it's been, but I know it's been years. But Michael Jordan is still a rock star wherever it is that he goes. When that Olympic team, the Dream Team, was put together, when they went overseas to play, fans was crying to get next to Michael Jordan and to Charles Barkley, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. They knew who these guys were. because it is a star-driven team. And when you have a superstar on your team, as what Luka Doncic is, you keep that superstar. And you can only be a superstar in the NBA if you play at superstar level. You are not just a superstar because of your name. You're not just a superstar because of the team that you play on. No, you are a superstar because you play like a superstar. And Luka is a superstar. So what you do as a GM, as an owner, as a franchise, you realize that, yo, we got one of the top 5 players in the league on our team. He's not perfect, so we're going to identify what his flaws are, and then we're going to build around that. The same way the Mavericks did, the same way Cuban did when we had Dirk. Dirk was not a great defensive player, but they put strength behind Dirk. There is no way in the world Mark Cuban, if he was still majority owner of the Dallas Mavericks, would have allowed Luka to get away. You build around Luka. You put people around Luka to strengthen your team, because what Luka have is going to be hard to replace. And you did it with an aging Anthony Davis. And I'm all about bigs. Don't get me wrong, because I'm old school. I feel like basketball is a sport that is supposed to be played outside in. The way that they play it now from inside out, it drives me crazy. One of the main reasons I don't watch the NBA as much as I used to is too much shooting from the logo, too many 3-points. I see them go to the lane and kick it out for a 3. When you had an easy 2-pointer up under the goal, layup, slam dunk, whatever it is that you want to do, but you would kick it out for a 3-pointer. You will pass up on a high percentage shot for a hard percentage shot in today's game, and I don't like it, but that's how it is now. Luka is heavy ball dominant. He plays a lot like James Harden. He demands the basketball, and he sit on the basketball for 20 or the 24 seconds of the shot clock. But Luka creates magic more than he don't. You put people around Luka. You think people wouldn't want to come play with Luka? You crazy. You put people around Luka and you build your team. You don't get rid of your superstar. Again, these are emotions talking. I'm mad. I don't know what's going on in Dallas when it comes to sports. If they're drinking water out the Trinity River, I don't know what the hell is going on, but the owners of the franchises of the Dallas teams are all smoking crack on Park Road. This is insane, people. This is insane. And to make it worse, you get rid of Luka to a team that is in the West. Somebody that you have got to look at least 4 times a year. And he didn't even know that his head was on a chopping block, according to the articles that I'm reading. He is now, since then, unfollowed the Mavericks. You will probably opened up a can of whoop ass. Every time he see you, he's probably going to come into American Airlines and drop 30, drop 40, drop 50. And the sad thing about it is that everybody that's going to be at that game is still going to be in love with Luka. You set yourself behind talking about you trying to win the championship. Luka is going to roast you. Mark what I say. It's going to roast you. I had to air it out. Don't know what's going on in Dallas, but it's not right. Dallas is acting like they need a dadgum guardian. Somebody need to come watch over them, man. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not understanding. This is not making sense. It's like I'm in a bad dream right now, but I had to air it out. There was any other reason as to why I don't like LeBron, and I know I'm probably going to lose people on this here, but I don't care. Because this got LeBron James written all over it. You think that he's not reading the memes of how he's still chasing Jordan in rings, and he's been in the league for 50 years? Building super teams. Go and get all the greatest players in the league to come play with you so that you can stack your numbers. They played in a different generation. You'd have never been able to get Magic and Jordan to want to play together. You'd have never been able to want to get Magic and Bird to want to play together. You'd have never been able to want to get the greats back then to want to play together. They found enjoyment of beating each other up. And they stayed with the prospective teams that they was drafted by. Isaiah stayed with Detroit. Jordan stayed with Chicago until he left and came back and went to the Wizards. Magic stayed with the Lakers. That was his franchise. Bird stayed with Boston. Dirk stayed with Dallas. And Dirk didn't even have an agent. He did deals with Mark Cuban with handshakes, willing to give up money on his contract to make the team better so that he could get his ring. It's a whole different generation, and it's soft and it's weak and it's an embarrassment. And Luka going to Dallas going to LA would never make sense to me. Never. And Luka, and I don't know how Luka and LeBron is going to coexist the way Luka has to have the ball in his hand. You're going to add somebody who is ball dominant now to have to defer to somebody who is just as ball dominant. But y'all crazy. It ain't going to work. This year, you shoot. I had to get it off my chest. But the next time.